Guru Nation? Welcome back to the clinicaltrialsguru.com. Thank you for watching. Make sure you subscribe. Go follow me on the social networks. It's been a very long day. I'm not going to bore you with that. I'm going to bore you with that on the podcast. So go to Random Musings from the Clinical Trials Guru on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, whatever you prefer. Go there. I'm on it. So today's video is going to be what's in a monitoring visit report. And this is good not only for those of you that want to be CRAs, but it's also good for the research sites. I mean, it wasn't until recently that I became a very part-time monitor, very part-time CRA, and I'm also building my CRO. So I'm learning how to create these monitoring reports. And so this is one I have for my own CRO, DSCS CRO. And I'm just going to go through some of the sections on what a monitoring report entails. And again, every visit, there's 5 types of monitoring visits. There's site selection visits. I've actually gone through that and did a video on what a site can expect from the monitor's perspective doing a site selection visit. I just basically explained a site selection visit monitoring report for you. So just go try to find it on YouTube. Maybe site selection visit, clinical trials monitoring, you should be able to find it. There's site initiation visits, there's interim monitoring visits, which are the most common kinds of the most frequent types of monitoring visits, which is what I'm going to go through with you guys today. And then there's closeout visit, and then there's pre-audit visits or booster visits, which we're not really going to get into. We're going to get into interim monitoring visit reports. So when I was a site, I'm still a site. I'm just no longer curious about this because I know. But when I started out back in 05, 06, 07, 08, those first 5 years, I was so curious to know what's in a monitoring visit report, and I would have loved to have had something like this. So I'm just going to go through it for you aspiring CRAs, as well as you research sites, because I'm really making this one for you. So, enrollment status is the first thing on my particular monitoring report. And again, the order could be different, but this is the order I made our monitoring report templates for the DSCS CRO. Okay, so enrollment status. So that's basically screening and enrollment log. Was it reviewed? The monitor needs to check yes, no, or not applicable. And then you put comments. So the monitor puts comments. In this case, site screened X amount of patients with X amount randomized, X amount screen fails, X amount pending randomization. Any issues preventing these people from randomizing, any out-of-window randomizations, those are all explained in the comments. Number 2 is the enrollment progress satisfactory? So sponsors, and by the way, I should preface all of this with the reason why monitoring reports are even done and why so much time is placed on them from the CRO perspective is because of the new GCP revisions in 2016. The FDA is mandating that the sponsors get more involved and have more of an understanding and an awareness of what's going on in their studies. So the sponsors are actually looking at these reports, and they want to know what's the enrollment status, any issues going on, is the enrollment progress satisfactory. They want to know these things. So the only person who can bridge that knowledge gap between what's going on at the site and what the sponsor wants to know is the CRA through these reports. Okay. Number 2, section 2 is subject records review, also known as SDV, source data verification. Now, mind you, this is not the order that when you're a CRA and you go to the site, this is not necessarily the order you're going to follow. Okay, but this is the order of the monitoring report on my particular template for DSCS. So, SDV, were there any informed consents? You got to put which subjects, since your last monitoring visit, which subjects, and remember, if you're the research sites, you want to pay attention because this is what they're going to be looking at, okay? Since the last monitoring visits, were any informed consents signed in between the last monitoring visit and this monitoring visit? Monitor is going to review those. Monitor is going to make sure that you're using the right approval date, that the patients are signing it appropriately, that the process of consent is being done properly, whether this was a new consent or a reconsent due to a protocol amendment. All that's there with comments. Other parts of SDV are, were the source documents and ECRFs reviewed? Are the source documents current, signed, and available? Has the investigator reviewed all labs, ECGs, etc.? There's comments here. Any reasons for screen fails or early terms, and were they documented properly in the source? Again, the sponsor wants to know. Are the ECRF entries, so the EDC, are there any queries? Are they consistent? Are they completing in a timely manner? Are the source docs or the EDC being completed properly, or are there any issues? Were all findings resolved by the site prior to the conclusion of the visit? And then it gets into protocol deviations. So there's a little chart on the monitoring report for the monitor to list any protocol deviations that the monitor discovered and what the resolutions are going to be for that. So that should be in the comments for that section. The next section is safety. Have there been any SAEs since the last monitoring visit? If yes, where is the documentation? Where's the initial SAE submission form and then the follow-up SAE form? Okay. Have all outstanding issues regarding the SAE been resolved since the last monitoring visit? So that's safety. Investigational product, big one. Number 4, a lot of monitors tend to, especially when they get busy, tend to forget about this. They think they can put it off until their next visit, and you're potentially setting yourself up for failure because there could be temperature excursions, there could be patients that are not compliant, there could be missing IP, the site could be dispensing the wrong drug. You want to make sure investigational product that you're at least reviewing it. So have all IP supplies been received, inventoried, and stored in a secure location? Are the IP related documents accurate? Were there any concerns? Any temperature excursions? Comments are required. 5, regulatory. And when I go on site as a CRA, this is the first thing I look at, is the regulatory binder. Not just because I have to sign the monitor visit log, and I don't want to forget to do that, so it's the first thing I do. But I also need to know if I need to retrain any staff members on anything. Were there any new amendments? Did the PI properly train the staff on the amendment? Things like that. So regulatory is a huge part of the monitoring report. Was the delegation of authority log updated since the last visit? Was the 1572 updated? Any updates on the CVs? Any updates on medical licenses? Any updates on financial disclosure forms? Any new training documents? What I just discussed. Was the study protocol updated? Any amendments? Training needs to be documented. Was the informed consent updated? Were there any updates related to the IRB? Site visit log, site visit letters filed appropriately, sponsor correspondence, any updates to lab manuals. This is why I check regulatory first. It's a lot of stuff. Okay, especially if you're a research site and you know that you just had a protocol amendment, or you just had a bunch of new sub-Is join, or you had a coordinator leave and a new one join. The monitor, if it's a good monitor, that's the first thing they're gonna look at. So you better be prepared with that stuff, or else it's gonna be a long visit and you're gonna have a lot of action items. Okay, which gets us to the next section. Okay, action items. So all the action items that you find that the site did not resolve prior to you leaving, okay, the CRA, need to go in the follow-up action item log. So any issues at all that the site didn't resolve at your monitoring visit need to go in the monitoring report. If you're a site, try to work with your CRA, get as many of these things done during the day of the monitoring visit so that your action item list is not huge, because the sponsors are looking at this, and if they constantly see your site having all these action items, you're not leaving a very good impression on them for future business. Now sometimes they have no choice, they're going to continue working with you because the doctor's a KOL or whatever, but try to have some pride in your work. Most sites do, they're just busy. But try to keep these things in mind. Think like a business person, okay? If your CRA sends a monitoring report from all the other sites they go to, and they only have on average 5 action items, and then your site has 15 or 20 action items, that's going to stick out like a sore thumb for the sponsor when they look at these, because the sponsor looks at all of these now. Okay? And then the monitor might collect any documents, copies of the documents, not originals. So they will take the training log, any trainings that the monitor has done, any updates to the regulatory, like new CVs, new licenses. The monitor will take copies of those documents to include with the report. So hopefully that helps. Hopefully it's not too long. Hopefully it makes sense. If not, email me, follow me on all the social networks, message me wherever you're comfortable doing so, and I'll try to get back to you. Thank you, Guru Nation. Take care.